So as we are watching the pomp and circumstance and the reception there for President Trump at the Palestinian Presidential Palace there, you know, I mentioned earlier how President Trump took the first ever flight from Riyadh to Israel, perhaps a symbolic connection. Right. And so I ask you, do you feel that there's any openness on both of those leaders to perhaps come to the negotiating table and really try to start moving this needle forward to getting to some sort of peace agreement?
Well, hopefully. I mean, like Judy was saying, there are those who are they're not optimistic that this can be done, because how many years has this been in the process? And then, as you pointed out, Arthel, all those non-starters, all the points that have been so contentious. But you know, as far as the president's trip from Saudi Arabia to Israel, yes, it is historic. And yesterday he talked about how King Salman was open for peace between Saudi Arabia and Israel. And that was significant because, keep in mind, and maybe we'll dip out of this if there's anything more to hear, but keep in mind, Israel's high-tech industry, it's like the #1 part of the economy here, already does business in the United Arab Emirates, in particular in Dubai. So perhaps we'll see not only peace talks or more maybe diplomatic negotiations, but more so business negotiations with more of the Middle East and more of the Middle East region. But that said, as far as a two-state solution, peace negotiations, there are so many other aspects to this. One thing that Israel's Security Cabinet did before the president's arrival is to pass a series of what are called goodwill or, you know, quote-unquote confidence-building measures, including allowing more construction in parts of the West Bank and easing restrictions on the Allenby crossing from Israel into Jordan. But the Palestinian officials, and reportedly possibly even Palestinian Authority President Abbas, kind of scoffed at these measures, saying, well, they're not that serious. So if there's, you know, again, kind of the wariness from both sides, it's going to be very hard to get back to the negotiating table. However, in public, Palestinian Authority President Abbas, of course, Prime Minister Netanyahu have said they're all for it. They want to negotiate. So we'll see when it comes down to it if that indeed happens. But again, we're looking at the presidential palace in Bethlehem. President Trump arrived there just a short time ago. The ceremony, marching band played the national anthem. Now he's meeting with people. And by the way, when he was shaking some hands, you saw members, a delegation from the Greek Orthodox Church, from the Roman Catholic Church. Remember, the Church of the Nativity is in Bethlehem. So you're going to have that religious contingent. Also, Bethlehem's mayor, Vera Babon, she was there as well, and other officials, Palestinian security officials, police officials. So now we're just waiting, Arthel and Kelly, to see if the president makes some brief remarks and if he's going to talk in particular about the Manchester attack. Excuse me. Just to give you a little bit of an idea about his schedule ahead. After he meets with President Abbas in Bethlehem, President then will have some downtime at the King David Hotel, and then later he'll be going to Yad Vashem. He'll be laying a wreath at the Holocaust Memorial there, and then later he'll be speaking at the Israel Museum, giving a more formal speech. So, you know, we expect to hear more about not only the trip here and his meetings with the Prime Minister, meetings with Palestinian Authority President Abbas, but also about the attack in Manchester. Again, as we take a look at the presidential palace, and hoping to hear some more remarks, or at least brief comments from the president and Palestinian Authority President Abbas. Arthel, Kelly.
We'll bring those remarks to our audience when we get them.